Hello, my name is Bob McQueen from H3B Media in London. Welcome to the ITS Canada podcast on strategic planning. I'm joined today by Ian Steele, who is the Chairperson and CEO of ITS Canada. And before we get into the strategic planning thing, let's ask Ian a little bit about himself and his organization. Ian, welcome. You work for
Thanks, Bob.
PBX Engineering and are also Chairperson and CEO of ITS Canada. Tell us a little bit about both those roles.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks very much for having me. It's great to be here. So I'll start with PBX first. So I'm the current president of PBX Engineering, and I've actually been with the company for about 23 years now. Winding the clock way back, transportation was the skill set that particular firm was founded on, and it's still a core business for us. And most particularly, our specialty was in ITS, complex integrated systems. And I actually started out as a co-op student with the Ministry of Transportation back in 1994. And that's what got me into this business. And I became involved with PBX, then PBA at the time, in 96 when the company was formed. And I started there right out of school in 98. And I've been there ever since. And I'm currently the president, and no 2 days are ever alike. I'm responsible for overall business operations, but I'm still very actively involved in project management and system design, particularly related to ITS. The skill sets we developed in the integrated systems, we leveraged those, and they're quite a unique skill set. And we use those to grow into other areas. In the early days, it was industrial automation and security, and we now have 6 distinct business lines within the electrical discipline. Transportation and ITS continue to be our largest area of business for sure, and it's a specialized practice we're known for. With respect to ITS Canada, I've been involved with that organization for about 15 or 16 years now. I started out really just attending conferences. We were actively involved in the field, and it was seemingly the right thing to do way back when. And it's been a great organization. They had a lot of value for members, and I've always got a lot out of the conferences. Really enjoyed it. And I became more involved in 2016 when I became the treasurer of ITS Canada, and I was in that role for 2 years, sitting on the board, learning a lot more about the operations. And then I became the chairperson in 2018. And of course, much like the chairperson role, I think in any organization, my role really is to coordinate and to guide. And my job is certainly made a lot easier by our board, which consists of an incredibly passionate and capable team. And most of the heavy lifting for the organization is done by Yannicka. She's an absolute machine and a core to the business. So it's been a very interesting journey getting to here, and a very rewarding career so far. Very happy to be a part of the organization.
So tell me a little bit about your vision for ITS Canada.
If you'd asked me this question, I think when I started on the board 4 years ago, my answer probably would have been a lot more tactical in nature, improving processes, more focus areas in certain aspects of the transportation realm. But having been with the organization for a number of years now and learning more about what the national transportation network really consists of and what it needs, my vision for ITS Canada is very definitively lined up with the vision that we actually developed as part of the strategic plan, which is that ITS Canada is the hub for mobility technologies in Canada. We're the place that connects transportation challenges with technology solutions. And I can talk a little more about that vision later on.
Cool. And we're talking today specifically about the ITS strategic plan. Tell me about the status of the plan.
Yeah, so the plan's actually complete. We rolled the plan out and released it to our members in November of 2020. And we're well underway in terms of actually implementing the early tasks and working towards meeting a number of our near-term objectives. Actually, coming up now, we'll be embarking in late February on the start of a virtual national roadshow where we're going to reintroduce the plan to our members, raise some awareness with respect to what ITS Canada is all about, and use that as a springboard, I think, for a number of the external outreach activities that we have planned.
Why is the plan important, and what are the overall objectives?
Well, I think if you look at the importance from two perspectives, first of all, from an organizational perspective, I mean, obviously, I think many organizations build strategic plans, and we're certainly not the first. It's not the first time ITS Canada has done it. So why is it important to the organization? It's very easy, I think, to become rudderless quite quickly if you don't occasionally take time to step back and reevaluate. And ITS Canada has a track record of doing this every 5 years. So this is, it's not just a refresh of the previous plan. This is really, it's a wholesale change and upgrade in how we're looking at our perspective. And, the development of the plan is, I think, essential for any organization, but I'm very much a big fan of Churchill's quote that plans are of little importance, but planning is essential. So why is it important to the organization? And plans of this nature, they're a statement in time in many respects, and their continued relevance is often hard to maintain. With how fast technology changes, you need to be able to adapt and evolve at the same pace. But what the plan does do is it really helps you to build beyond where you currently are. It provides an elevated baseline that helps you adapt, and because you've already thought through various scenarios and created paths to reach objectives, you can actually reach farther than you originally planned to. And really, I think quite in particular, while specific tasks or objectives may become less relevant over time, I think that happens as a consequence of the evolution of any organization. The guiding vision and mission are very helpful as a reference point to fall back on. And our new vision is something that really has incredible momentum behind it internally. And we've already relied on it a number of times to help us interpret and respond to decision-making that has arisen.
Cool.
And I think if you looked at it, so that's from an organizational perspective, I think what the importance is. But if you look at the perspective on a national level, I'm a big fan of this organization. I really am. And I truly believe that ITS Canada has a lot to offer. And our plan does add a lot of value and is of national importance. Our membership spans, coast to coast. And so our breadth really is national. Our members are from academia, private enterprise, government of all levels, consulting, engineering, product developers, right across the country. And our members contribute in substantial ways on a national level. So not only solving current problems, but also staying abreast of new ones. We're a relatively small and very nimble organization, and that's been very valuable for us. I'll give you a very good example of one of the areas that we really contribute, I think, in terms of helping Canada stay abreast of these technology changes. There's a rapidly emerging field called Maritime ITS, and as a maritime country, it's an area of significance to Canada. And ITS Canada, we've been involved in the early stages of this new area of practice, assisting with planning and coordinating right from the get-go. So I think that's a really germane example of how ITS Canada plays on the national stage.
You've given me a great shop window view of the strategic plan. So let me ask you an under the hood question. What about the process to develop the plan? Tell me how that was done.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been involved in, certainly from our company perspective, development of a number of strategic plans, and I've been participating in a number of organizational developments. But this was the first time I think that I was involved end to end in such a comprehensive plan, and it was a very interactive and a very rewarding process, and I genuinely enjoyed being a part of it. So we kicked the process off with a 2-day workshop back in September of 2019, and that was immediately in advance of the joint conference we were hosting with the Transportation Association of Canada in Halifax. The workshop was facilitated by one of our member firms, Associated Engineering, who's highly experienced in this area, and they did an excellent job. And that workshop really crystallized around this concise and very on-point vision of ITS Canada as the hub for mobility technologies. That undercurrent of thinking came to the surface so quickly and so in a manner that just made immediate sense to everybody. And it really reflected, I think, how the organization was already positioned, but it just articulated it in a much better way. And it engendered instant buy-in from the board. And it just really made sense for us. And I think even the workshop facilitators were the next day when we did the debrief and talked about moving the plan forward. They commented on how surprised they were that we all coalesced around that idea so quickly and that it resonated so well with everybody around the table. So it was pretty incredible. There's really a lot of momentum built around that vision. So after that, one of the next steps was to outreach to the members. We're always very cognizant of people's time, and we were careful to release a survey that was concise and got us the information we need. But we did an outreach survey to the members that really contributed to understanding what their areas of importance were. Next step beyond that was consultations with our technical committees, which are very important aspects of the organization. Their input and advice was taken in serious consideration in the development of the plan. And of course, we did reviews of other organizations and seeing how they were approaching emerging challenges. And we bore in the back of our minds, I think, through the whole process, a key focus, which was to prepare a concise and actionable plan. ITS Canada, as I mentioned, has done this a number of times over the last 15 years, and excellent plans, read the previous background material, and they were really well done. They tended to be quite comprehensive, and we trimmed this one down to a much more concise and actionable set of objectives, and we're really happy with the way the plan came forward. So we prepared a draft in late 2019, and that was circulated among the board, with the original timeline and intention of releasing that very early in 2020, because we wanted to have time to outreach to members and build momentum leading to our annual general conference, which is generally held in the summer. So I have to say that this is one of the few times in my career where procrastination actually paid off. We all have day jobs, and we got busy and the timeline slipped. And at first, I did feel no small amount of guilt for that, and I was concerned about making sure we're moving forward. And then, while we were neck deep in planning for the next release, which was tentatively scheduled for the spring of 2020, COVID hit. And we put the brakes on it. And, as terrible a situation as that was on an international level, for the plan, it actually was the timing of our delayed timeline actually really helped, because had we actually released the plan on our original schedule, I think it would have been stale dated right out of the gate. So we took a pause, we stepped back, and we reevaluated the set of actions we'd prepared in September. Now, fortunately, I think most of them held up to scrutiny, but there were some that we felt were either a lower priority or no longer a priority, and we interjected new ones that I think reflected what we thought was a need to really look at what COVID was doing to the transportation network and make sure that we were reflecting how our member agencies and the transportation network as a whole was reacting and would likely be positioning themselves moving forward. So it actually helped the plan. I think it was a good re-review, and we worked through the summer to refine that. We released it in draft to the board again in late August, and then the final version went out in November. And as I mentioned, that brings us full circle to where we're at, and we're well underway in terms of moving forward with various aspects of the plan.
Cool. Here's a question about the scope of the plan. Canada's a big country, a lot of diverse geography. Does the plan cover the whole country, and who do you expect in the country to benefit from it?
Yes. So to answer your question, it's a flat out yes. It is a national scope. Our organization is a national body, and our memberships, they reflect a national perspective, all the way from coast to coast, north to south. And so it really is, we're a truly national organization, and our plan really reflects that. So who's going to benefit? And I think you can characterize that in terms of maybe three main groups of stakeholders. The first undoubtedly is our members. I mean, we're a member-driven organization, and we're here to serve and support our members. So I think there are numerous activities in the plan that are aimed at strengthening the organization's relationship with our members and focusing on promoting their capabilities and providing opportunities for learning and connection, which is really what ITS Canada does as the hub, and all of that benefits our members. The next group I think that stands to benefit are other businesses and transportation agencies. Not all transportation agencies and businesses are members of the organization right now. I mean, that's something that we're working on developing and expanding. But technology is evolving so rapidly, and many organizations, small municipalities, even small businesses, don't have the breadth of in-house capabilities to keep a pace with this. It's very daunting. So that's really, I think, where ITS Canada can help with knowledge transfer, sharing of ideas, connecting solutions with challenges. That is what we do. So a key focus for us actually in the plan, some of our actions really focus on some of these small municipalities and other transportation managers and business areas that can really benefit from our knowledge base. And circling back to your previous question about scope, I think that the third group that really stands to benefit is actually the national transportation network as a whole. We really are a national organization, and I really believe that we have the ability to make a difference on a truly national scope. And if we get this right, which I earnestly believe we did, this plan will make a difference right across the country.
Wonderful. And then one final question as we move to conclude our podcast. Let's do a little bit of time travel. Let's go 5 years into the future, and you're looking back. What would be the most important thing that you would like to see the plan achieve?
The answer for this question really came to me without hesitation, and it has to be the marketing plan and the proper and fulsome implementation of that. ITS Canada, we are a respected organization. We've done incredible work over its lifespan and continue to. And I think we have an exemplary reputation with the agencies and the groups that we deal with, including all levels of government, federal, provincial, and municipal. And many of the other activities that we've identified in the plan, they are necessary and they're on point, but they're also really second nature to us. Planning, actioning, reaching objectives. This is what most of us do day in and day out. That part of it we really have a good handle on. But waving the flag of our members' capabilities and their accomplishments, promoting our organization, and broadening our outreach, that is challenging for a group of quiet professionals who are typically understated and often fly below the radar. And I believe we have a lot more to offer to a lot more people and many more organizations. And our key challenge will be making sure that we reach those people. And the marketing plan is really the vector by which we're going to do that. So to answer your question, I think unequivocally, the succinct and fulsome implementation of our marketing plan is to me probably the most important aspect of the plan.
Well, I think you've proven over the duration of the podcast that you're not one of those silent professionals, Ian. So we really appreciate you giving us your input. It's nice to talk to an engineer that can communicate. It's
Thanks, Bob.
Something's missing in our training, right?
Yeah.
So that rounds us off today. This is Bob McQueen with H3B Media. I've been talking to Ian Steele from PBX Engineering, also Chairperson and CEO for ITS Canada. We've been talking about the plan, which seems to go further than being a plan to being something that will be applied and will achieve results. Thank you very much for your time and attention.